Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. It's Niall, and I'm delighted as always tonight to be joined by Owen and Thomas. And we're here in big fight breakdown mode for a really big one, both literally and figuratively, in the heavyweight division. It's Deontay Wilder, former WBC heavyweight champion, and he's taking on Big Bang Zhilei Zhang June 1st in Saudi Arabia, headlining the massive Queensbury versus Matchroom 5v5. And this is going to be explosive while it lasts. Lads, hope you're doing well. Let's jump into it. We've a lot to talk about tonight. First of all, I just want to quickly touch on how excited you are for this fight. You know, for me personally, if you had told me this time, kind of 2 years ago, even that we'd be getting this and we'd be so excited for it, I'd have called you crazy. But yeah, you're looking forward to this one, Thomas. I'll throw it to you first. Are you excited for this?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely feel like this is the right move for both guys, given, where they're at this point in their careers and their age. Um, so yeah, it should be an interesting stylistic matchup also. And both guys are big punchers, as we know, especially Wilder. So it will be interesting to see how that plays out on June 1st.
Good stuff. Owen, how about yourself? You looking forward to this?
Yeah, definitely. As you said, whilst it lasts, I think those are the key words there. There's no way this goes to points. Someone's getting knocked out. So two massive heavyweights, two massive punchers, two guys that don't really plan to go the distance in fights. So how can you not be excited for it?
Yeah, I have to agree. It's going to be carnage while it lasts. It's somebody's going. You know, we'll get into predictions, but somebody is going. And yeah, even after Wilder's last fight, which was flat, he still has that ability to put the lights out on anybody. So hopefully it lives up to expectations. So yeah, let's get it. Before we start talking about kind of predictions, there is a couple of questions I wanted to ask you. Of course, this one is a massive fight kind of for the implications for the winner and the world title picture. They leave themselves right on the cusp of a world title. You know, of course, Wilder has been there before at the top of the mountain. And at the time of recording this, you know, we're just over a week away from the huge undisputed heavyweight title fight, Fury Usyk. So by the time June 1st rolls around, we will have an undisputed champion, whoever that may be. And whether the belts get fractured, who knows? There's talks of Dubois and Hrgovic fighting for the IBF title. Or even, you know, if it goes to September, AJ Hrgovic, AJ Dubois. What I wanted to ask you, kind of, can the winner of this win a world title in Wilder's case again? You know, if they get through this, whether it's against Fury, Usyk, Hrgovic, Dubois, AJ, how do you see them matching up? I know time isn't on their side either. I'll throw this to you, Thomas. Say for Wilder or Zhang, if a world title shot came their way in the next year, 18 months, can they win a world title again?
Uh, for Wilder, I'm not as sure. Um, I just feel like he's a bit past it at this point. I think he's seen his best days, although Zhang is a bit older actually. But I think he's a late bloomer, and perhaps he still has a little bit more left in the tank. Whereas Wilder, he's been around in the big stage for a while. And for him, if he wins this fight, say he gets another highlight reel knockout, he'll just get fed to Jared Anderson right away, it seems like. So, yeah, it's going to be tough for him to even see a route to another world title shot, much less win one, in my opinion. And for Zhang, he doesn't have much time left either. He's 41 years old. I believe he's 40. Um,
Yeah,
so
I think he's
yeah,
40, yeah.
yeah. So he doesn't really have much time left either, although he is a late bloomer. Um, I if he wins this fight, it should definitely get him back within the title picture. Whether or not he can beat, an Usyk or a Fury, I just don't see me personally.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I think I'd have to agree. Of course, it has to be soon after this. If it is, time is not on their side. Even though the heavyweight division is kind of full of late bloomers, the older type of fighter. But an interesting point you made there too, which I forgot to mention. I know that's a topic for another video, but Wilder and Anderson is the kind of plan for August, of course, on the Crawford undercard. So that's a topic for another video. How about yourself, Owen? Would you agree with Thomas's kind of opinion on that? Is there another world title in either of these men?
I don't think so. Um, Probably because I think the IBF will get stripped of the undisputed winner, and knowing the IBF, it'll probably get stripped within about an hour of them winning it. So I think that'll get stripped. That'll be sort of AJ in September, I think, and I think we'll be looking at Hrgovic or someone like that. Like you say, Wilder's already looking at another fight, so he's obviously not looking. He's obviously looking at, as he said, and as we've mentioned on previous videos, he's just looking to cash out, really, by the looks of it at this stage of his career. I think potentially then for Zhang, if he went the IBF route, possibly. Same, well, obviously, Wilder, regardless of winning or losing this fight, it appears he's already made his next move. So I think if he's looking at fighting Jared Anderson, he's got no title aspirations left in him. So I think it's only fair to talk about Zhang's chances. And yeah, I just think the rest of the titles will be tied up, as the WBO, WBC, WBA will all be tied up. Usyk, Fury are going to rematch. Turkey, Ali Sheik's already looking at a date for that rematch. So unfortunately, I think it's the IBF or bust for the winner of this. And wow, I think it's the IBF or bust for Zhang, regardless of victory, because Wilder's clearly got other options. So unfortunately, I think it's too little too late for either of these men.
Yeah, I have to agree with everything you both said there. I think in terms of the belts, I think they're too tied up at the minute, and if it was the IBF, if we're going on Wilder's last performance and he ended up fighting Hrgovic or AJ, I'd have to pick, even though he has the ability to put the lights out, I'd probably have to pick Hrgovic or AJ, to be honest with you. And Zhang, yeah, time is running out for Zhang. I know he fought Hrgovic before, it was a stinker, so who knows what had happened there, but I can't see him again. I can't see him beating the likes of a Joshua or a Fury and Usyk. Definitely not. I don't think either man beats Fury or Usyk. But yeah, I think even if they were to get a shot again, I just think they'd come up short, to be honest. And there's no shame in that, but I just have to agree. I just think that's the way it is. And yeah, the Wilder Anderson situation here is quite bizarre. It's weird to have a fighter have another big fight lined up after this, not knowing what's going to happen now against another top fighter. That's going to be no kind of pushover. So yeah, that's a topic for another day. But on the flip side of that question, and I'm gonna go for an Owen McKendry special here. We're gonna get the McKendry gif out for the loser of this. Is it the end of the road? Wilder, we mentioned, seems to be looking for the money fights, which I can't blame him on doing. Zhang is 41 years old. Is there a way back for them, or is that the end of the road for the loser of this? Is it win or bust? I'll go to you on first. What are we saying here?
Um, See, I'd have said if Wilder loses this, I'd have said it's time. I think regardless, I think it's time for Wilder. I can't see him beating Jared Anderson. Don't even know why he's looking at that fight. Maybe he thinks because he's young, he's a bit of a pushover. But you look at Wilder, he's boxed what? In the space of obviously the Fury loss to the Parker loss, he boxed one round in a year against Robert Helenius, and then just got absolutely smashed to pieces by Joseph Parker. And at any age, that's going to have its effects. It's going to take its toll on someone, and especially nearing 40, taking a beating like that, it can't be good. Um, what I think, without going too much into predictions, I don't think the way Zhang lost to Joseph Parker was a lot more favourable than the way Deontay Wilder lost. Dropped Parker, just couldn't break him down, looked a bit slow. maybe got tactics wrong. So it's a difficult one. I think at 40, realistically, can he come again? But we questioned it, I said with the against Hrgovic, obviously he lost that at 41. People questioned him then, and he knocked Joe Joyce out twice. So I think if Zhang wants to carry on, so be it. I think he can. I think he's entertaining for fans. I think there's still some decent fights out there for him. But if Wilder loses this, and I think if he loses this, he'd get knocked out. I don't think, as I said, I don't think he goes to points. After taking an absolute hammering from Joseph Parker and then getting knocked out by Zhang, realistically, what mentality is he going to have going into the Anderson fight? Because I'd see another knockout. So then you're on back to back knockouts. So I think Wilder's finished personally. He's made enough money from the Fury trilogy, let alone any other fights. So if Zhang loses, I think he can have a couple more. But if Wilder loses, I think he should call it quits. Yeah, definitely.
Fair enough, Thomas. What do you think? Is this make or break for the winner and the loser of this one? Can you see any way back for the loser, or is it the end of the road?
Yeah, I would honestly, I'd have to agree with everything Owen said 100%. Um, I think if Wilder loses, uh, it would definitely be time for him to hang it up. I don't really think that, he could really compete at a high level anymore if he does lose this fight, and especially the Jared Anderson fight. Um, and like Owen said, I think he's just at this point in his career just trying to cash out, which, fair play to him. He's almost 40 himself. So, uh, you know, I don't blame him for trying to do that. That one or two fights left in his career. And like Owen said as well, Zhang, I think if he wins or loses this fight, just last year he knocked out Joe Joyce twice, and that was just last year. So he's still got a lot left in the tank.
Yeah, no, I'd have to agree again. I think it's both hit the nail on the head. I think, we'll be a long way back, especially while their situation is weird. And we spoke about this before, in that, he's made his money. He's looking to cash out now, which is fair enough. But the fact that he's still fighting on, even though he basically admitted it himself after the Joseph Parker defeat, that he's mentally checked out. He's done. He's done what he came to do, and he's still looking for money that he doesn't seemingly need by his own accounts. So I just don't want to see him continuing on and taking beatings, especially when they're fighting the likes of Zhilei, Zhang, and Jared Anderson potentially in August. These aren't kind of uh exhibition type pushover fights. If you're gonna lose, they're gonna beat you up badly. And we don't want to see him taking that sort of damage. So yeah, I think Wilder doesn't have any intentions of world titles again, which is fair enough. And Zhang at 41, it will be kind of a tough way back to the top if he does kind of have those ambitions. So yeah, I do think this is make or break for both men. So yeah, let's on that note, let's get right into predictions for this one. We we could talk about keys to victory here, but we know what one man is coming to do, and that's take a head off and Deontay Wilder. Whether you can do it or not is a different question. So Owen, let's throw it back to you here. Let me know what you think. Is it Wilder or Zhang, and how does it go down on June 1st?
Just like I said, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, though. The keys to victory, I think, are pretty pointless because I think it's just a case of both men are coming in to take each other's head off. And the keys to victory is avoid getting your head taken off by that big shot. It's pretty probably the most simple keys to victory of a matchup I think I've ever seen. At any weight. Quite incredible. I think Zhang's going to stop him. I think he's going to stop him brutally as well. I think Wilder's checked out. You've always got that big if and the buts of, oh, if the right hand lands, will the right hand land? Everyone said that right hand would land at some point against Joseph Parker. It didn't. Parker completely shut him down, and Parker was throwing shots I've never really seen him throw before. Completely guard dropped, step in, big overhand rights. that's not Joseph Parker we've really been used to witnessing. And it was almost bludgeoning Deontay Wilder, and it was quite obvious to see, I think, from anyone sat at home or sat ringside or sat in the gods in the arena. I think you could see those shots were coming, and Wilder just weren't interested in defending them. I think he's been in denial throughout a lot of his career in terms of losses that he's faced, etc., especially the Fury ones. There's a lot of excuses. So I think it's just going to be business as usual. Zhang comes in mid rounds, sort of 5 to 7. I think he'll work Wilder down. And if I had to put money on it, I'd say round 5. Um, uh, a pretty savage knockout. No referee stoppage either. I'm going for a straight KO from Zhilei Zhang.
There you go. Zhang KO. Thomas, the floor is yours. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree?
You know, I I totally see how Owen would have that opinion. I think it will go down that way for most of the fight. And I think Wilder's going to get beat up. He's going to be, as far as it goes, he's going to be down on points. I think he's going to be getting tagged with that left hand a lot. Zhang, he's a big guy and, maybe doesn't have the best footwork and kind of a plotter, but his hands are fast, and I think that's going to kill Wilder, early on, at least on points. But, Zhang gets tired, in the past, and I could see at some point, maybe midway, towards the, round 7, the round 10, midway point, or, I would say right before the championship rounds, maybe Zhang gets tired and Wilder catches him with something. You just never know with Wilder because the punch is the last thing to go. And I think Joseph Parker, I think he's a bit more trickier in terms of upper body movement and defense than Zhang. So I think it was perhaps easier for him to avoid that big right hand. But if Zhang gets tired and he slows down, his defense slips, all it takes is just a split second. So, I see it going down like the Luis Ortiz fights for Wilder. I think he's going to be down on points, losing pretty much every round. And I think round 9, 10, Wilder's going to slam him with something like a big right hand and put him out.
I love it. I love to hear. I knew that's where you were going with that when you started kind of saying it'll start well, and I love it. And that's why we love Deontay Wilder, that he can do that. He has that ability. So we've got a Wilder stoppage and a Zhang stoppage. For me personally, I just can't. I know Wilder has that God-given gift in his right hand, but I just can't get the Joseph Parker fight out of my head. And the comments after the fight out of my head, he's mentally checked out, and I think he's gonna fight. He's gonna fight a similar way to this, and I think it's a Zhilei Zhang stoppage as well. I'm gonna go with Owen, and I think I've had a feeling about this fight that it could go down like the Fury, particularly the Fury second fight. I think it's gonna be pretty bad beating up close. I know Parker got in up close as well, close the distance, and as Owen, as he said, he went to work there. So I think Zhang will have fast enough hands, good enough ability to get in close and just beat him up and stop him. I'll say 7 to 9, but I can't see a Zhilei Zhang stopping, and I can't see it getting pretty bad in here. So yeah, it's a good fight when we're split. We've got a Wilder stoppage and we've got 2 Zhilei Zhang stoppages. So that's all we've got time for on this one. Let us know what you think in the comments. Can Wilder roll back the years and land one of those trademark right hands and get himself back on track to world glory? Or will Zhilei Zhang register what will be one of the biggest wins of his career again and kind of have continue this Indian summer at 41 and get himself on the road to a potential world title shot in the next year, 18 months? Let us know. As always, don't forget, drop a like on the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on all social media. Always brilliant content coming up, especially with a hectic boxing schedule now the next few weeks. So, yeah, Owen, Thomas, take care. It's been a pleasure and speak again.